Hi.
A big hand, everybody. Please put your hands together for our speaker.
Vanakkam, good morning. So hope I think you had a nice coffee break. So I am coming from Chennai. It's a land of coffee, filter coffees, and land of beach, and one and only the Talavar Rajnikant, right? So, good. So let's see that, right? Because probably I'm trying to relate it, right? So how many have seen the Danger and Robert film, right? There are something. So let's get into the scene, right? Where the chitty is trying to multiply the chitty again, right? So it's created 100 and created 1,000 and make it actually more actually making multiplies and creating havoc actually in this thing, right? That kind of moment that we are seeing in this thing, right? So now what I'm trying to say that how the AI that delivers the powers of AI as well, right? Let's get into that agenda. Probably I can go into that space now. So I also trying to put that analogy in the in the other area in the assembly and manufacturing side. So if you look at 1970s, so there are a lot of car manufacturing company in US. They used to have do the heavy lifting work, right? It used to take now the welders and all the lathing work, painting work, all this being done. Now they introduced a Unimat, right? The robo. Right? Moment they started robo, and it started actually getting into that space of the heavy lifting, dangerous work, and then it started replacing human. Right? There will be a lot of confusions, panic of the people. Hey, what happened to our job? Hey, everything getting grabbed. But if you look at what really happened, it's actually amplified. It did not replace the thing. Yes, absolutely, it replaced some of the human job, but rather than actually replacing, it's elevated them and moving them into the more of designer, architecting, and more like a administration kind of work. That's what happened. So taking that kind of a synergy, even in AI world, if you look at, there are a lot of chaos, right? So a lot of data, AI started replacing the area that we are looking on the data space as well, right? If you look at a lot of foundational model, so I'm also wondering actually how this foundation model is getting built, right? If you look at that, it's actually preparing, grabbing all the data coming from the different world, and then preparing the data, training it, and making as a foundational model or LLM and all this thing, right? And all this super gravity, even like a Gemini, Claude, even now the 𝗧𝗵𝒻 all will be good as long as the data that are coming in properly and making it work, right? That's what we are seeing it. That same analogy even can be applied on the data platform, right? If you look at within the enterprises, there will be good amount of data platform already there. We are grabbing the data coming from different world, putting into the platform, and then making available for your insights and intelligence. So that correlate well. And in the entire exercise, if you look at the data engineering is a hand dirty work, they're similar to the manufacturing area of the car assembly unit, right? There will be huge amount of manual repetitive work that are coming in. So let's look at the challenges, right? If you look at 80% of the data engineering is still manual, even though we are trying to build that design, development, coding, testing, production support is still manual. But at the same time, we are seeing the huge variety of the data coming in, right? The 5x data source coming in, different varieties, unstructured, semi-structured, now API integration, all are coming in. Then the pipelines are getting really broken in production. It become much more challenges. It's not only a structured data, unstructured data. It really need to understand the schema drifts that's coming in, the structure format difference that are coming in. So that's also another big challenges that we are going, right? So let's look at that. I'm not trying to introduce anything new platform here. What we are trying to say, this is a data platform similar to the assembly line, right? Whatever that data source, when the data, all the contents coming in, right, or in the materials coming in the form of packages, labels, and parts, and all are coming in. Similarly, the data coming actually with the different format and varieties, right? That's there. The middle layer, it is a real assembly unit in comparing actually with the manufacturing car assembly. These are all already there. What we are trying to say is how we can embed AI as part of the entire agent in the processing thing. These are all the different agents, about 9 different agents that can really solve. I will tell the rest of the session how these agents are really helping or augmenting or embedding more to make it much better. Obviously, the third layer is a consumption layer, similar to the showroom that I'm trying to sell. All may are available in the assembly. Now I'm going to sell. Similarly, all this output layer, which is coming like a data service, intelligent insight, and then marketplace. These are all the architecture. Let's drill down each and every component. So, first step, as I mentioned, right, the smart ingester. In the existing world, we already have the data that are coming in. What is the difference that AI is really going to do that, right? Especially the schema drift, right? Understanding the different format of schema that are coming in, and then encoding it, making sure it's all getting operated properly and get adjusted when I'm trying to do the ingest the data, especially in the API kind of world, right? I'm just changing my token, login, and then there is a structural JSON output coming in. Now there is an AI that can be embedded, actually smartly understand, and then try to readjust according to do that, rather than making the data engineer working in a midnight and getting it that. And that's a parallel ingestion, smart batch optimization. That are all the things that can be done using AI. Then next to that, profiling, right? This is similar like when it comes to the factory, there are a lot of the entire package coming in the package labeling. I'm trying to sort it. It's more of a profiling of data and make sure actually the data quality bin assessment, it should be real-time anomaly detection and it get adjusted and do that to get, and also data drifting and schema evolution that's getting happening as well. So that is on the data profiler side, that AI can be embedded and then moving into that space. This is most important one. Now it is not about only a context, only the data model, right? Schema, I have 3 and data vault kind of thing. Now the model is more like a more contextual, that what the AI really can understand. So it's not about entity relationship. Now you need to go further, drill down on the triples, and then you can get into the more contextual and semantic ontology and taxonomic, all this thing can be embedded, and that need to be done. Now AI really can understand, make that schema evolution and make it more contextualized. There are a lot of things that Snowflake bringing this open semantic interface and all this thing and all that can be done, right? And the other important works in the case of data engineering is a mapping of the document, right? That's where it's moving from the design to the developer. The intelligent mapper automatically that can do the mapping, scoring, other aspect that can done as well, right? Now the real enrichment, right? So if you look at, there is a Chinese whisper happening, right? Whatever the schema, the modeler that trying to give the business rule and get translated to the data engineers, and they in turn creating, and there will be a lot of quality and coding issues. Now the data enricher is more like you can give the business rule in a simple language, then it can translate actually into the code, and then moving into that. Now that required a best data as well. The synthetic data generation is happening now. It's not necessary actually to getting the data from production, subset, anonymize and all this thing. Now based on the business rule, the data can be synthetically generated and do that. Most important, what is a pipeline scheduler? This all happening. Now we are embedding actually the pipeline, everything is a dynamic resource. That especially in the cloud, you need to really optimize based on the volume and based on the cluster that we are really defining on it. The pipeline scheduler is getting optimized as well. The data testing is another aspect. So now, while you are design, you can also immediately go and get that SQL, the code can generate it and can be tested along with that, and that's a unit tested component that can be done. And obviously the data governance, right? It's about data governance already thing, but enforcement of the policy, that is important. That can be done in the data governance in the real time during the design time as well. So this is all on the engineering side of it. Obviously now we are seeing the more of a consumption layer. So data services become, no, you don't need nowadays too much of sophisticated BI tool or the thing, a Power BI, all this thing. Now the natural language to the SQL, it's become a more happening, Snowflake intelligence or Databricks semantics views and all this thing is really supporting now. Now, because the context model is being brought in the proper format, the service layer actually become a more self-serviceable. Now you don't need to do the SQL or you don't need to do any more coding, and all can be done actually to that thing, and it can be really shared through the marketplace with a proper embedding of the asset and cataloging, tagging, all can be assisted through the AI as well, right? So that's all the thing. So what is the value that it provides, right? Compared to that earlier 80% of thing, now we're seeing that 90% reduction in the manual mapping. That's a more design time effort. Coding is almost 100% can be done through the tool. Then it can be faster deployment and maintenance cost as well, right? but it's only that it's happening currently, but it's also need to be done in the future, and getting this model building, foundation model building, embedding and ethics and other stuff's also coming. So that's the ending story. Now the agents, it's not going to replace, it's going to amplify the work. The way the Dr. 𝗏𝗂𝗺𝗺 actually is not getting replaced, right? It's getting amplified and then supporting it, making the Dr. 𝗏𝗂𝗺𝗺 job much better in the inherent job, right? The similar thing that you can do that. We can, in order to understand more detail, probably you can visit our booth and we'll get more detail as well. Thank you.